from landing on other players' faces to having entire teams hating on him. While LeBron James may be the best performing player on the court, he isn't so lucky with relations with other players. In the case of Nate Robinson, the reason may have been out of LeBron's control. It might actually be just an accident, but sometimes even those can leave a lasting impression. Let's talk about what happened really. What I think is the reason why Robinson might hate LeBron is that he once made him suffer with a fall. During a game, both players were rushing toward a loose ball. The race was won by Robinson, with James coming second, but unable to stop in time, he landed his body weight on Robinson. Both the players fell with James's entire body landing on Robinson's upper body, causing him to hit his face hard on the court. While you might be able to shrug it off as a complete accident, you can't deny that Robinson does in fact hate James. That's because he once slapped James across the face during a made layup. There's even footage for it, so yeah, you can't deny it. And not just that, at one point in time, Robinson attempted to contact the Miami Heat for a job opportunity, but was swiftly rejected. Coincidence? Maybe not. What I have next just might not sit well with you. So how about Steph Curry? No? Well, Steph has enjoyed being the face of the league in recent years, but there's definitely a possibility that he may hold negative feelings toward LeBron James.
These two just talking, going back and forth. Thompson trying to pull him away.
This could be due to James's reluctance to accept his position as the face of the NBA to Curry, who's been making waves in the league. James even went as far as publicly questioning the validity of Curry's back-to-back MVP awards. This not only insults Steph's skill and position in the NBA, but also indicates a potential rivalry between the two players. Because who in their right mind would hear something like that about themselves and be like, you know what, that's fine. Similarly, Danny Granger doesn't seem to like James either. His reasons mostly include disrespect from James in different forms. Although the two have had a long history of rivalry and unnecessary confrontation, Granger's reasons for hate expand way beyond that. Granger's considered a very calm and collected individual in the NBA, but there's something about LeBron that ticks him off. Well, let me tell you what it is then. Granger believes that LeBron and his former team, the Miami Heat, have shown a lack of respect towards him and his team. Not just that, Granger also believes that the league in itself has equal parts to share in the disrespect. The heat between the two has been often felt on the court. An example of this is once when James stole the ball from him, and in return, he grabbed James's jersey to try and stop him. And given how James is, he pushed his elbow very near to Granger's face. Of course, Granger wasn't going to back down, even if he started it. And just like him, there are more who just can't seem to like LeBron. Honestly, sometimes it actually seems like LeBron intentionally tries to sabotage his relationship with other players. During a bang-bang play, LeBron ended up on top of Patrick Beverley and refused to allow him to get up. Instead, he pushed down on Beverley's chest, keeping him pinned to the court.
Upon who you're for, right now, you're going to make a decision that the other guy started it, okay? Well, we'll see this a few times.
Naturally, Beverley objected to this and grabbed onto James to prevent him from standing up. This quickly turned into a minor wrestling match until the two were separated. At least James didn't resort to sitting on Beverley's face during this one, as he did with Nate Robinson. And for this next one, you'll start thinking that James likes to pin his opponents down to the ground. With Nazir Muhammad once attempting to foul James, he did not know who he was facing. James managed to deflect that with a spin move that helped shove Muhammad to the ground.
Yeah,
He got wrapped up.
well, yeah, he did. But he's just trying to discard a guy who's wrapping him up.
This obviously resulted in a technical foul being called against James. Muhammad clearly took offense to this, and being no fan of James, he got up and went off on him. He shoved him with his two hands, and James almost lost control. Seeing what was happening, Muhammad got a very positive reaction from the crowd, who also gave him a standing ovation. Safe to say, it was very satisfying to watch for not just Muhammad, but all James haters all over the the world. Now, how about Jermaine O'Neal? O'Neal, along with several other former Boston Celtics players, has demonstrated a clear disdain for LeBron James. One way of showing that was to attempt fouls against him throughout the years, particularly during the playoffs. It once became crystal clear when O'Neal literally waited outside the opponent team's locker room to be able to confront James. This was after a game that was filled with a lot of rough rivalry and dirty playing from both sides. It makes sense why he has so much hate for the reigning champion of the league, given that he's been on the receiving end for way too long. And similar to O'Neal, there are more Celtics players that have a similar feeling towards James. Unsurprisingly, the former Celtics player Kevin Garnett finds himself on this list. You could argue that he carries negative feelings towards James just like everyone else, but he has consistently engaged in trash talk and hard fouls against the basketball star. Of course, it should be noted that James himself hasn't exactly been innocent in this regard, having engaged in some questionable back and forth with Garnett and the Celtics. But we already knew about his rivalry with the team. Still, Garnett deserves a spot on this list for the intense battles he's waged against James, not to mention Delonte West. The relationship between West and LeBron James during their time as teammates was already quite strange. West has acknowledged that James provided support during a challenging period in his life, suggesting a close bond between the two. But things haven't remained the same throughout. In fact, rumors have circulated for years, including an allegation that James's mother had a romantic relationship with West, which is quite weird and strange. Regardless of the truth, it's clear that the nature of their relationship was complex. Not just that, the rumors have contributed to ongoing speculation about the two players and how they feel about each other. Safe to say, this is the worst kind of revenge you can take on someone you dislike. But unlike Delonte's case, some are very clear about their hate for James. I'm talking about Paul Pierce here. He's literally gone on record to say that he just can't stand LeBron James. It could not get clearer than that. But of course, like most others, this too is the result of several dirty fights between the two, in and out of the playoffs. The two have been involved in numerous hard fouls, trash talk, and even near brawls.
Paul Pierce making every big play for the Celtics today.
Regardless of which teams they were playing for. So yes, it does seem personal. And to end it all, I've got Joakim Noah. Much like Pierce, Noah has never held back when talking about James. In fact, the things that he said about the former are so explicit that they can't even be repeated. At the end, the only thing they prove is that Noah hates LeBron more than anyone else on this list. And if that's not the case, at least he's the most expressive about his hate, in words of course. Their battles, both verbal and physical, have happened one too many times for me to believe otherwise. So there you have it. Some players that just straight up hate LeBron James. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.